Chapter 1786, A Match Made in Heaven. Chapter 1786, A Match Made in Heaven. Rumble. Fang Yuan floated in the sky, looking at the ground below him. The huge mountain range was collapsing. 5 colored lights emerged. They shined dazzlingly. But these lights did not fuse together or interfered with one another. They had their own routes. It is not so easy to destroy the 5 regional mountain range in the previous life. Wu Yong succeeded because he obtained the accumulation of Chao clan who had researched this inheritance for many years. Fang Yuan thought that in order for Tao Zhu's true inheritance to appear, he needed to destroy the entire 5 regional mountain range. The commotion would be huge. This was why Fang Yuan had waited until now before he acted. Firstly, he had just won and captured the southern border immortals. His strength rose sharply. Secondly, the southern border immortals were disoriented currently. Heavenly Court's attention was also drawn there. He could act rapidly here. The 5 colored lights started to dissipate and break apart. They were disintegrating at a rapid speed as they shrunk continuously. Fang Yuan nodded in satisfaction. If anyone tried to change the earth vein without knowledge, unless they were extremely lucky, the lights would still exist for the most part. Only a specific method that targeted this arrangement could succeed. To change the earth vein and cause the 5 colored lights to completely vanish. After a while, the 5 colored lights disappeared completely. That a powerful aura suddenly emerged. Enormous pillars in 5 colors soared to the skies. A loud voice reverberated throughout the 5 regional mountain range. Junior, you did well. You actually passed my final test of destroying the 5 regional mountain range. Now, my 5 regional inheritance is yours. Cultivate properly, and you can move unrestrained and unhindered over the world in the future. Don't let down my name. In the middle of the 5 colored light pillars, a smoke-like will condensed into the vivid appearance of a Gu immortal. This was the will that Tao Zhu left behind. Fang Yuan smiled coldly. He stretched his arm towards Tao Zhu's will. Tao Zhu's will froze instantly. He felt a formless force restraining him. Next, he was pulled out of the rainbow pillar like a carrot that was uprooted. He flew towards Fang Yuan and grabbed by the throat. Tao Zhu's will was furious and humiliated. He stared at Fang Yuan. Rank 7 junior, don't humiliate me. I was a rank 8 back in my day. Fang Yuan purposely revealed a trace of his rank 8 aura. Tao Zhu's will had a change of expression after sensing it. He chuckled as his attitude turned around entirely. He spoke with a tone of being on similar status. So you are a rank 8 friend. Secretly, he was thinking to himself, this young man looks talented and has great disposition, but he actually acts so viciously and domineeringly. He is a rank 8, but he pretends to be rank 7. He must be up to no good. He is not a good person. Fang Yuan smiled. I am a current generation demon. Old man Tao Zhu, I will take your true inheritance. Saying so, his sleeves billowed and he unleashed the killer move that he had prepared. The ground shook as Gu worms flew out of the 5 colored light pillars rapidly. They all flew into Fang Yuan's immortal aperture, including the immortal Gu mixed among them. Next, the 5 colored light pillars faded away. They no longer were eye-catching. Tao Zhu's will was flabbergasted. Fang Yuan's wisdom path method could sense his inner thoughts. That was not strange. The shocking thing was, Fang Yuan could actually take the entire true inheritance without his consent. The main body's arrangements were completely useless against him. Sir, who in the world are you? Tao Zhu's will had a change of attitude again. He looked towards Fang Yuan with curiosity and wariness. Fang Yuan's action earlier had already surpassed Tao Zhu's own attainment. Not only did he see through Tao Zhu's arrangements, he even dealt with them perfectly. Fang Yuan looked over with a cold gaze. Tao Zhu's will felt like he was completely emptied. No, he felt like his entire body was transparent to the other party. He had no secrets left. Fang Yuan smiled. Old man Tao Zhu. Yes, I am here. Tao Zhu's will felt extremely terrified by Fang Yuan's smile. He did not dare to put up airs. Your true inheritance is quite interesting. When I dominate the world and invade Heavenly Court, it will be very useful. To reward you, I will allow you to find a new inheritor in my grotto heaven. I will not destroy your will. I will replenish you and allow you to live for a long time. Fang Yuan said. Tao Zhu's will was currently at Fang Yuan's mercy. He was like a puppet that could not move. He felt extremely bitter inside. Back then, when the main body researched upon the mysteries of the 5 regional walls, he made a breakthrough towards the end of his life. He had a shocking achievement, but the main body's lifespan was up. He had no time to become famous. He could only leave the inheritance and wait for an inheritor.It was a huge regret. Thus, Tao Zhu's main body set up this true inheritance that would cause a huge commotion in the 5 regional mountain range. He would attempt to choose and test a proper disciple to inherit this legacy. When his disciple becomes renowned in the world, he would also gain fame and reputation that would make up for his regret before death. But the result was, Fang Yuan came and disrupted everything. Not only did he destroy the 5 regional mountain range, he skipped all of the tests and arrived at the end, even capturing the will and forcefully taking the true inheritance. He had no politeness at all. He was domineering. Tao Zhu's will felt deep grievance. This was not what his main body had intended for, but what choice did he have? He was just a will. If I am not wrong, even my main body is not this person's match. From what he said, he actually wants to attack Heavenly Court without sufficient strength and confidence. Why would he say that? Thinking so, Tao Zhu's will sighed, saying to Fang Yuan, "Forget it, this is life. I don't care if you are a good or bad person. The true inheritance is in your hands. You might cause bloodshed and death in the future, but that will surely shake the 5 regions, right? This is what my main body wanted to see too. As long as you do not cover up my main body's achievements. So what if you get the true inheritance?" Ha ha ha. Fang Yuan laughed loudly. His laughter became intense. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes shined with divine light. The surrounding winds and clouds moved with his will. After laughing, he looked at Tao Zhu's will solemnly. "Don't worry. Why would I fight with a dead person over this reputation? If I cannot even let go of this, how can I surpass Heavenly Court? How can I surpass the generations of venerables and pursue my supreme goal of eternal life?" Tao Zhu's will stared with wide eyes, thinking, This person talks big. He wants to defeat Heavenly Court and surpass venerables? Is he crazy or foolish? Oh no, he can detect my thoughts. Fang Yuan laughed again. If I lack even this bit of ambition, what's the point of being human? Failure is fine. Just try again several times. Even if I cannot achieve my goals in the end, so what? Tao Zhu's will froze. He stared at Fang Yuan in a daze. He saw Fang Yuan taking a deep breath as he looked into the horizons. His eyes were dark like the abyss, but Tao Zhu could see that within this pure darkness, there was a brilliant spark. Instantly, memories surfaced in his mind, the questioning and disdain of countless people, researching the 5 regional walls. What's there to research about? He is so arrogant. This question has existed since the start of time. On what basis does this Tao Zhu think he can possibly resolve it? A mere rank 6 immortal, and even a lone cultivator at that. He is so ordinary. The suppression of Southern Border's righteous path. Tao Zhu. Stop researching it. The person who warned him had high cultivation level. His face was cold as ice. Why? I did not provoke you. Tao Zhu replied in anger. Don't you get it? The Southern Border righteous path Gu Immortal looked at him with a deep gaze. His tone was very cold. What is the true meaning of the 5 regional walls? Right now, Central Continent is the strongest while the other 4 regions are weaker. If your research really succeeds, it will cause a huge commotion in the world. The 5 regions will go into war. It will be a calamity. For the sake of all the living beings in this world, we will be taking away these research gains of yours. No. Bam. Blind fool. If not for her, would you still be alive now? The Southern Border righteous path Gu Immortal gave him a cold stare as he left, the separation from his lover. Tao Zhu. We are not compatible. Let's end it here. Tao Zhu was filled with sadness. Yes, I am just a lone immortal, while you are the beloved child of Yao Clan's first supreme elder. No, that's not the problem. Do you not get it? Tao Zhu, you are the reason. You research the mystery of the regional walls every day. How much time do you spend with me? Ask yourself this question. Do you really care about me? You love your research more than you love me. The female immortal sobbed. Tao Zhu was speechless. The female immortal wiped her tears as she breathed in deeply, looking at Tao Zhu with teary eyes. This is the final time I will ask you. Do you want me or your research? Tao Zhu lowered his head. He had a hesitant expression that was filled with uncertainty. The female immortal walked closer. Be with me. Marry into Yao clan. We will live together and have our own children. Don't think about the regional walls. We will provide you all the resources you need. With my father around, you do not need to fear any calamities or tribulations. Darling, the female immortal spoke endearingly. Tao Zhu's heart shook. He looked at her. The female immortal had an expectant gaze. He took a step back as if he was pushed by a formless force. I. He clenched his fists. He gulped his saliva. He wanted to say something, but no words came out. He did not want to lie to the female immortal. He did not want to lie to himself. The female immortal looked at him as her beautiful face turned increasingly pale. Eventually, the hope in her eyes vanished. She smiled lightly. Turning around, the crystal tears fell. She flew away on a cloud. Not long after, news got out that Yao clan was having an alliance marriage with another righteous path force. The bride was that female immortal. He is Tao Zhu? Is he stupid? In order to research the pointless secret of the 5 regions, he gave up on that marriage. He is a lunatic. I've often seen him heading to the regional walls for his research. He often ends up injured and in a sorry state. On the night of the female immortal's wedding, Tao Zhu stayed in a dark and tiny cave. He looked at the mortal formation in front of him in a daze. This tiny formation was only at rank 2 level, but it was the research gains of his entire life until now that he looked at the formation while thinking about the figure of that beautiful female immortal. Her smile was stunning and beautiful like the moon that he laughed to himself. His hoarse voice echoing in the tiny cave that he continued to research the formation in front of him with overflowing tears. All his efforts were not in vain. His stubborn nature was deeply planted into the soil that was filled with the blood of his bleeding heart. It bore fruit in the end. Yao clan's first supreme elder came to him as a rank 8 himself. Tao Zhu looked at him directly. Yao clan's first supreme elder looked at Tao Zhu calmly, but with a hint of pity in his eyes. I heard that your research had some progress recently. I was lucky. Tao Zhu sneered. You are here to snatch my research gains? The old man shook his head. You just became a rank 8. I do not want to bully the young and weak. Tao Zhu's sneer turned colder. Your words can deceive a naive newbie, but trying that on me? Tao Zhu shook his head. Disdain was shown all over his face. Yao clan's first supreme elder smiled nonchalantly. I admit. He sighed as he nodded. I had underestimated you. To think that you could advance to rank 8. If I had known this, I would not have hindered you and my daughter's relationship in secret. I would have nurtured you and tried all ways to get you two to be together. Even if you are obsessed with this, even if you cannot give my daughter happiness, I would still do it for the sake of my clan's benefit. Tao Zhu's expression changed. Thinking about the female immortal he loved, his gaze became dark. However, Yao clan's first supreme elder had a solemn expression as he added, I will not allow you to do any research on the secrets of the 5 regional walls. Tao Zhu's eyes shined with cold light. He regained his cold demeanor as before. Humph. The same excuse about causing chaos and creating war between the 5 regions which would cause bloodshed in the world? Have you thought about it? Once we decipher the secret of the 5 regional walls, we can bring prosperity and hope to the world. The 5 regional walls are the biggest obstruction to the interaction between all 5 regions. If they vanish, Gu immortals will be able to move more freely and unobstructed. We would be able to share our cultivation knowledge with each other. However, the possibility of war is far higher than peace. Isn't that so? Yao clan's old man interrupted Tao Zhu. Tao Zhu was silent. He did not rebuke. The 5 regions had too many differences, not just in terrain and culture. Their resource allocation and population density also varied. There was also no lack of ambition people. Unlike the current 5 regions that were isolated and had economic, political, and military balance, once the 5 regional walls were removed, this balance would break instantly. So, you are here to advise me to stop? A moment later, Tao Zhu broke the silence. He snickered in disdain. You know that is impossible. Yao clan's old man said solemnly. I must admit, killing a rank 8 existence is too risky. It is hard for Southern Border's righteous path to make a decision on this. Unless there was no choice, we would not choose to fight to the death. Thus, we are here to tell you a secret. I hope that you can keep it a secret after you learn about it. Why must I listen to you? Tao Zhu laughed. Yao Clan's old man also laughed. Because this secret involves the 5 regional walls. Don't you want to know? Tao Zhu was moved. He felt a sense of anxiety in his heart, but he quickly suppressed it. The look of pity in the Yao Clan old man's eyes became even deeper now. This secret is too cruel to you. But in this situation, I need to tell you. In the future, the earth veins of the 5 regions will merge and become one. The regional walls will disappear by themselves. What? Tao Zhu shouted in deep shock. This was a fatal blow dealt by Yao Clan's first supreme elder. This secret voided the goal of Tao Zhu's entire life. The 5 regional walls would vanish in the future. Then what was the point of Tao Zhu's research? He put in so much hard work and effort. He took all the life-threatening risks and even gave up on his beloved woman. All of these sacrifices that he made, were they just cruel mockery towards him? This is impossible. You lied to me. Tao Zhu's voice was loud, but there was panic in his tone. This is a paradise earth true inheritance that our Yao clan inherited. The evidence is with you already. Even if you do not believe me, do you not believe in the words of paradise earth immortal venerable? Yao clan's first supreme elder said this and smiled. Furthermore, you researched about the 5 regional walls and earth veins your entire life. You must know something about it. Haven't you sensed anything? All of your research gains can prove the fact that this will happen in the future, right? Tao Zhu was covered in perspiration. He stared with his huge hollow eyes as he fumbled backwards. He lowered his head towards the ground as his expression was full of nervousness. Yao clan's first supreme elder smiled. He looked at Tao Zhu. His kind old man demeanor had an extremely cold and cruel disposition. This was all that needed to be said. Yao clan's old man turned around to leave. Before going, he said his parting words. Don't research about the 5 regional walls. They will disappear on their own in the future. Your research is meaningless. Of course, if you can succeed while the 5 regional walls are still intact, I am sure the moment you achieve success will also be the moment Southern Border's righteous path and all our rank 8s join forces and exterminate you. This is all I have to say, Tao Zhu. Think about it yourself. Tao Zhu was dazed on the spot. He stayed motionless. Defeat was written all over his face. It was like a dream. Back to reality. Tao Zhu had died long ago, while his lingering will was grabbed by Fang Yuan at the throat. The true inheritance was already taken away forcefully, but Fang Yuan's words had a huge impact on Tao Zhu's will. If I lack even this bit of ambition, what's the point of being human? Failure is fine. Just try again several times. Even if I cannot achieve my goals in the end, so what? Ha 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 ha. Tao Zhu's will laughed maniacally. Years later, his main body had already recovered from the impact that Yao clan's first supreme elder dealt. He had the same kind of realization. Indeed, even if I fail in the end and obtain nothing, even if my life was a complete failure, so what? Even if the 5 regional walls would disappear in the future, so what? Even if my research is meaningless, so what? That is what I want to do. You can call me crazy. You can call me an idiot. You can call me stubborn. You can call me stupid. Alright, that I am crazy. I am an idiot. I am stubborn and also stupid. But I still want to do it regardless. That is how I want to live. That is how I can find meaning in my life. However, I still had lingering regrets in the end. Therefore, I created this inheritance. And now, this inheritance is in the hands of Fang Yuan. At this moment, Tao Zhu's will became excited. Fang Yuan, I will give you this inheritance. I will also give you the true meaning that is hidden somewhere else. My main body was not skilled at fighting. That was why I had lingering regrets. But I feel that if this inheritance is given to you, all these regrets will be fulfilled. This is truly a match made in heaven. Fang Yuan's lips curled up. He showed a confident but arrogant smile. Then observe it yourself, old man Tao Zhu. I will make sure your true inheritance stuns deities and shocks immortals. It will be renowned in the world. Chapter 1787, Rule Path, Great Grandmaster. Chapter 1787, Rule Path, Great Grandmaster. After obtaining the entirety of Tao Zhu's true inheritance, Fang Yuan left the 5 regional mountain range immediately. Like the previous life, this mountain range was inevitably still destroyed. But the result was very different for Fang Yuan in the previous life. He set up an ambush and created a huge battle in the 5 regional mountain range. Tao Zhu's true inheritance has appeared unexpectedly. He had no chance to obtain it as he had to escape. This time, Fang Yuan was wary of the ink effect. He waited until he ambushed Southern Border's pursuers after capturing them all. The time was ripe, and he came to obtain this true inheritance. After some time, Southern Border's righteous path would agree and support Tai clan in building the beacon towers.By then. It would be problematic for Fang Yuan to take action. The scattered beacon towers would allow Southern Border's Gu immortals to travel much more quickly and efficiently. During the final battle in his previous life, Fang Yuan obtained important information about Tao Zhu's true inheritance from Wu Yong and Qi Chuyu. He even set up a super immortal formation with them. Thus, he knew a lot about it. With all the deductions he made in advance, he was prepared to successfully take it by force. Tao Zhu's true inheritance. Fang Yuan sighed deeply in his heart. The methods inside this inheritance were very useful to him. They would help him greatly. Even though Tao Zhu was just a rank 8, the importance of this true inheritance surpassed even some venerable true inheritances. His previous life was the best proof. Fang Yuan used Tao Zhu's methods to deal with the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation. It gave Chun Yi and the rest huge problems. They were able to advance with great progress. Tao Zhu's methods were also able to deal with the killer move heroes among people. Due to heroes among people's amplification, Heavenly Court and Central Continent's Gu immortals had a huge boost in battle strength. But as long as they were inside the 5-colored smoke, these Gu immortals would face greater backlash the stronger they were. This was a mystical move that had an incredible effect. Fang Yuan had to give it a thumbs up. It deserved all his praise. The 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation and heroes among people were venerable methods, but Tao Zhu's true inheritance was actually able to counter them. This made many Gu immortals' jaws drop. They were deeply shocked. This time around, even if I cannot find a way to break heroes among people, I can use the 5-colored smoke to counter it. Central Continent's people will have a hard time. But the methods of this true inheritance are not too flexible. When used, an immortal formation has to be created. Even though I know this method, I do not want an immobile immortal formation. I need to modify it on this foundation. Fang Yuan thought about it as he looked at Tao Zhu's true inheritance. As he expected, the formation that he created with the Southern Border and Northern Plains Gu immortals was the essence of Tao Zhu's true inheritance. In this true inheritance, Tao Zhu named the formation 5 Regional Limit Formation. And the good news was that other than this formation, there was another immortal killer move. It had the same value as this 5 Regional Limit Formation. This move was known as 5 Restriction. Profound Light Qi. Once activated, it could shoot out light Qi made of 5 colors. The effect of the light Qi was similar to regional walls. Within it, Gu immortals of the 5 regions would face backlash. The stronger their move, the greater the backlash. Of course, because Fang Yuan was a special existence, he was not restricted inside this light Qi. 5 Regional Limit Formation. 5 Restriction Profound Light Qi. These were the essence of Tao Zhu's true inheritance. Other than that, there were 2 remaining immortal Gu. These immortal Gu were Rule Path Gu worms. One was rank 8 region. The other was rank 7 limit. Rank 8 region Gu was clearly Tao Zhu's vital Gu. It had risen to rank 8 alongside him. Tao Zhu's immortal aperture was not preserved. According to the true inheritance, Tao Zhu was very poor then. Most of his resources were used for research. His immortal aperture had barely anything. And most importantly, before he died, he left his immortal aperture for the Southern Border righteous path so that he could conceal his true inheritance. Fang Yuan looked at the true inheritance as he felt deeper emotions. This Tao Zhu was a peculiar genius. He spent his entire life's time and effort on research. He invested so much manpower and resources to in the contents of the true inheritance. He wrote about his countless experiments. He had risked his life each time in all these attempts. Even after he became rank 8, he often went into the regional wall to experience its profundity. This was not something normal people could do. Thus, his immortal aperture was very poor. He could barely maintain the feeding of his immortal Gu. It could not develop as he constantly faced backlash inside the regional wall as a rank 8 Gu immortal. Next, I need to manage my immortal aperture and gain the ability to feed these two immortal goo. Then, Fang Yuan was faced with a tough problem. Should he choose the 5 regional limit formation or 5 restriction profound light chi? Both used region and limit as the cores with a vast number of supplementary mortal goo. If he created a formation, he could not use 5 restriction profound light chi. Similarly, if he chose 5 restriction profound light chi, he would not have enough time in the battle to set up the 5 regional limit formation. Creating a formation had huge drawbacks, because a stationary formation needed the power of an earth vein. Taozhu True Inheritance had clearly stated, not only did the 5 regional limit formation need to be set up on the ground, it needed to be rooted to an earth vein. Thus, in the previous life, Chi Chuyu added an earth vein immortal goo, but now, earth vein immortal goo had not appeared yet. Once a formation was created, it would not be very usable, because Fang Yuan would not be able to take it out at crucial timing. Unless he used formation flag goo or the formation spirit to move this formation around. But that would require a lot of modification and deductions from him, and the results were unknown. Choosing the 5 restriction profound light chi was more convenient and stronger, but it could not last as long as a formation. Furthermore, it had its weakness too. Each time this move was used, the goo immortal would need to expend a vast amount of earth chi in their immortal aperture. The expenditure was colossal. Even Fang Yuan was tongue-tied when he saw it. However, there is a method to resolve the drawback of 5 restriction profound light chi. I arrived. Fang Yuan stopped thinking as he arrived at an ordinary-looking cave. It is well hidden. Even I could not sense anything amiss. Fang Yuan nodded to himself. Next, he let out Taozhu's will. Taozhu's will took a few steps forward. The cave changed. A gush of true meaning permeated the walls. Taozhu's will handed this true meaning to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan first inspected it. After finding no problems with it, he absorbed it without hesitation. A moment later, he became a great grandmaster in rule path. This Taozhu's true meaning could allow a person who had no foundation in rule path to become a great grandmaster instantly. Of course, Fang Yuan had his own foundation. He was a rule path grandmaster. Even though Fang Yuan was still a great grandmaster now, his original foundation was not wasted. It was still accumulated even though he did not achieve a qualitative change into supreme grandmaster. It seems that Taozhu was a rule path great grandmaster when he was alive. Fang Yuan nodded slightly. When any path reaches great grandmaster in attainment level, a qualitative change would occur. Rank 8 Gu Immortals were the elites of the elites. Qi Clan's Chi Chuyu was a formation path great grandmaster who could use natural Dao marks to create immortal formations. Blazing Heaven Demonis was a fire path great grandmaster. Back then, when she made a trap for Fang Yuan, he could not sense it in the immortal materials no matter what. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was a great grandmaster of all paths. This showed how powerful he was. The lifetime achievement of many rank 8 Gu Immortals would only be one aspect of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. If not for Fang Yuan turning the situation around back then, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable would have infiltrated Heavenly Court. Shadow Sect would control the entire world. As for why Taozhu cultivated Restriction Path, but left behind a Rule Path true meaning. Because Restriction Path was a sub-branch of Rule Path. It was a small path that had not been fully separated. It was like the Emotion Path derived from Wisdom Path. This path specialized in using charm and emotion to influence others. The truth was, Rule Path had many smaller paths derived from it. It was truly the number one path without question in this regard. The more famous ones were Restriction Path and Phantom Path. Phantom Path was derived from Rule Path. It focused on illusions and phantoms, between truth and falsity. It had not fully separated from Rule Path yet. Fang Yuan had some Rule Path immortal goo. They were Precaution, Big, Fight, and others. The characteristics of Rule Path could be easily seen from this. Big, small, tall, short, fat, skinny, far, close, good, bad, round, square, curved, straight, truth, false, strong, weak, 1, 2, 3, 4. These were all Rule Path goo worms. Because Rule Path was a huge concept, it had many branching smaller paths as a result. Among all the paths, Rule path Gu worms have the widest range of use, or rather, they are the most practical for usage. For example, rule path Gu worm strong can be used with any path to make any killer move stronger. Rule path had another advantage. The Gu immortal could often create their own true meaning using it. This was the advantage of wisdom path as well. True meaning involved the truth of rule path, as well as the will of wisdom path. Other than these two paths, there were truly very few Gu immortals of other paths that could leave true meaning behind. The 10 venerables were exceptions. These monsters were not confined to common sense. They were unique existences that could not be assessed through logic. Tao Zhu's true meaning was quite a joyful surprise to Fang Yuan, because he knew that Wu Yong and Qi Chu Yu did not obtain it in the previous life. It was not hard to understand. Fang Yuan had already deduced much of the truth. Tao Zhu was suppressed by the southern border righteous path when he was alive, before dying. He gave up his immortal aperture to lure the attention of the righteous path, while he set up his true inheritance and hid his true meaning elsewhere, southern borders. Righteous path obtained Tao Zhu's immortal aperture. They thought that his research had no results, because they could not see through the 5 regional mountain range. They could not discover Tao Zhu's true inheritance. Even though Tao Zhu's true inheritance ended in the hands of southern borders righteous path last time, Tao Zhu's true meaning had been hidden from them. Tao Zhu's true meaning was very useful to the current Fang Yuan. It came at the perfect timing, because he had just captured Basher Ba. This rule path rank 8 Gu Immortals Grotto Heaven could not be annexed with Fang Yuan's original rule path attainment level. I wanted to undergo some transactions with Qi Chu Yu to get some rule path dream realms and raise my attainment level. To think that this would happen, I do not need to wait anymore. I can save a lot of effort. Chapter 1788. 1788 Righteous Path's Headache. 1788 Righteous Path. S headache Wu clan's headquarters. I in a room. Light was dimmed. Wu Yong had an ashen expression as he sat like a motionless statue. The information path Gu worm in his hand was still a little warm because he had just activated it. There was an intense conference of higher-ups earlier among the southern border righteous path forces. It was as heated as a market. Xia clans and Ba clans Gu immortals were close to screaming, their voices filled with terror and helplessness. Most of the people were engaging in loud discussions, close to the point of arguments, as they vented their shock and fear. How is this possible? Fang Yuan ambushed us and obtained complete victory. Our Gu immortals were all captured by him. What do we do now? This has never happened before in Southern Border's history. If news get out, our Southern Border righteous path would become the laughingstock of the 5 regions. Reputation is no longer important. The important thing is that our clansmen are in his hands. Earlier, Fang Yuan left an information path Gu worm behind. Didn't he ask us to wait for his reply? Yes, but he has not sent anything to us. Do we just wait for him? Wu Yong could still hear the discussions of these people echoing in his ears. Humph, a bunch of useless people. What is the point of talking and discussing now? Wu Yong snorted coldly in displeasure. He squinted as his already long and thin eyes became even slimmer. An eerie cold light flickered in his eyes continuously, while his fists were clenched uncontrollably. This is troublesome. Fang Yuan has the absolute initiative. Even if I reject his extortion, Xia clan and Ba clan would not, because their first supreme elders are the ones captured. Heavenly Court's arrangements were useless as well. Humph, I wasted my effort in contacting Ziwei. But this is not because Heavenly Court is weak. This Fang Yuan has simply shown battle strength that is too terrifying in this fight. With such terrifying battle results, looking at my southern border righteous path, only Qi Chu Yu is a character. He remained calm and cool. Wu Yong remembered clearly. In the intense discussion earlier, Qi Chu Yu had a calm expression and even was the first to suggest a plan to chase after Fang Yuan and pursue him. Even though barely anyone responded, that was the proper behavior of a righteous path member. Wu Yong had no idea that Qi Chu Yu was forcing himself to act calm. He was filled with shock and anxiety internally that he pretended to make this suggestion to pursue Fang Yuan so that he could conceal himself deeper. Fang Yuan actually won. Not only did Fang Yuan win, he even captured 2 rank 8s and multiple rank 7 experts. Was it a joke? Before this battle, Chi Chuyu would definitely think this was a joke, but now, he could not laugh at all. Chi Chuyu did not dare to believe it, but the evidence that Lu Weiyin showed them was genuine. He had to accept it. Fang Yuan obtained complete victory in this battle. Not only did Southern Border's righteous path go into chaos, even Chi Chuyu felt like Fang Yuan had a hold on him. Because Fang Yuan won using dream realms, and these dream realms were given to him by Chi Chuyu. That was to say, Chi Chuyu was the biggest contributor to Fang Yuan's success. He had become the greatest trader of Southern Border's righteous path. Before this, Chi Chuyu had thought that Fang Yuan would use the dream realms to deal with Southern Border's righteous path, but he was limited by common sense. Firstly, transacting with Fang Yuan simply benefited Chi clan too greatly. This temptation and desire blinded Chi Chuyu. Secondly, Fang Yuan had escaped by self-detonating the pure dream reality seeker physique bodies last time. In the entire process, he was in a distressed state, and he could not even control the self-detonated pure dream reality seeker physique bodies that formed dream realms. Thus, Chi Chuyu felt that this self-detonation held little threat. But to think that Fang Yuan would set up a time path super immortal formation. If not for this immortal formation stopping Gu immortals from teleporting, how could he succeed in using the dream realms? The time path immortal formation is not scary. The scary thing is how deeply concealed this formation was. If Fang Yuan had not activated it, it could not be detected. Chi Chuyu felt a headache thinking about it. He was a formation path great grandmaster. He naturally understood formations, but the immortal formation of each path had their own strengths and weaknesses. The strength of time path immortal formations was that they could affect the flow of time inside. Fang Yuan used this to fight for days and nights inside the formation, capturing the pursuers. Only several hours had passed outside, but time path immortal formations were not good at concealment. It was the strength of dark path, phantom path, and transformation path formations. Once time path immortal formations were created, they would be out there in the open, easily detected and seen. It should not be concealed so deeply that how did Fang Yuan make it this hidden? Chi Chuyu was stumped by this question, while at the same time, Fairy Ziwei, who was inside Heavenly Court, found the answer. She had just ended her deductions. Central Great Hall was still flickering with purple light. Fairy Ziwei sighed deeply. It should be the past arrangements of Shadow Sect. Shadow Sect had once been scattered in all 5 regions, hiding under Zombie Alliance while searching for natural tributaries of the River of Time, using the surrounding time path Dao marks to set up formations. At Great Grandmaster, Formation Path Gu Immortals could directly use natural Dao marks to set up formations, but the formation created would have different strengths and advantages according to the distribution of the natural Dao marks. The Gu Immortal would often only be able to adjust it slightly. It was not as convenient as using Gu worms to create formations, but that time path formation in Southern Border is specialized in concealment. Fang Yuan had perfect use of it. He added more time path formations inside and used the dream realms to capture all of the Southern Border pursuers in one go. Fairy Ziwei had a dark expression. She felt regret now. Had she known this, she would have told Southern Border about the deaths of Chun Yi and Thunder Ghost True Monarch. After the loss in Langya Blessed Land, Fairy Ziwei only told the world about a portion of the details. As long as Southern Border's righteous path knew of Chun Yi's and Thunder Ghost True Monarch's deaths, they would place more emphasis on Fang Yuan. They would not send just 2 rank 8 Gu Immortals. Lu Weiyin had joined on his own accord. That was not under the control of Southern Border's righteous path. This was not to say that Fairy Ziwei had made a mistake. She had her own considerations too. Initially, Fairy Ziwei had lingering hope that Chun Yi and Thunder Ghost True Monarch might still be alive. Thus, she only exposed Fang Yuan's secrets to the world while hiding this incident. But after a long time passed, Fairy Ziwei realized that Chun Yi and Thunder Ghost True Monarch were truly dead. She chose to conceal this information because she did not want to help raise Fang Yuan's reputation, and also because she was afraid that Gu Immortals of the other 4 regions would compromise with Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan had the strength to harm rank 8 Gu Immortals. His influence had reached a qualitative change. The other 4 regions were not like Central Continent. They had many forces that opposed each other. Those forces were not united and could easily be crippled by Fang Yuan. It was easy for them to secretly reach an agreement and undergo transactions. Fairy Ziwei was not wrong at all. Western Desert's Tang clan and Southern Border's Qi clan were doing this. Fairy Ziwei concealed this fact to ensure that the four regions would still be antagonistic towards Fang Yuan. Regardless of the results, both sides would have some expenditure. Any loss to either of them would benefit Heavenly Court overall. At the same time, they would expose information and clues that Heavenly Court could gain by simply observing. When the time is right, Heavenly Court would deduce Fang Yuan's exact location and take action to exterminate this demon. Fairy Ziwei made a good plan. She was looking towards the future and making preparations for the 5 regions' chaotic war, but the situation was way out of her expectations. Fang Yuan actually obtained complete victory. He captured all the southern border immortals. Even though Fang Yuan has rank 7 cultivation level, last time, he made use of laying Ya Blessed Land's foundation. And this time, he is using Shadow Sect's remaining arrangements. The result is a one-sided victory by him. Our arrangements did not even have time to take effect. Fairy Ziwei gritted her teeth. Fang Yuan was too devious and cunning. It was getting increasingly harder to deal with him. Fairy Ziwei started to feel a sense of helplessness. Fang Yuan only had rank 7 cultivation level, but she could do nothing to him. One of the reasons was that he cultivated too many paths. Wisdom path, for example. Fang Yuan had deep wisdom path attainment. Even if Fairy Ziwei made deductions with her full power now, she could not deduce his location. She needed a lot more clues. Normally speaking, Gu immortals who were not in wisdom path would be easy to locate through deductions. There were many demonic path Gu immortals in this world. But why were there few who would wreak havoc like Fang Yuan? It was because the moment they create chaos and make everyone angry, Wisdom Path Gu immortals would undergo deductions and locate them quickly before pursuing and hunting them down. Or for example, Refinement Path. Langya Blessed Land was not so easy to annex. Many Gu immortals could not do it even if they wanted to. Even some rank 8 Gu immortals could not. Because Langya Blessed Land was rank 7, one needed at least Grandmaster Refinement Path attainment level, or, for example, Dream Path. Fang Yuan was reborn from the future. He had many Dream Path methods. During the Battle of Etion Mountain, he used these methods to escape danger and survive the ordeal. Or, for example, this ambush battle, Fang Yuan showed incredible formation path attainment. Able to use the time path formation to this extent, his formation path attainment level was at least Great Grandmaster. Of course, this can be part of the arrangements left by Shadow Sect. But why did Fang Yuan not use it back then? There is little possibility in this. There is another possibility. After Fang Yuan annexed Langya Blessed Land, one of the variant human Gu immortals that he took in has Great Grandmaster formation path attainment level. I don't have enough clues. Fairy Ziwei placed her hand on her forehead as cold flight flickered in her eyes. She stood up and left Central Great Hall, arriving at the place where Spectral Soul was imprisoned. Soul Search. Not long after, Fairy Ziwei nodded in satisfaction. She searched specifically within Spectral Soul's memories about the secrets regarding the time path formation. It is a formation with strong concealment capability indeed, but it does not have the power to summon year beasts. Fang Yuan must have added it in afterwards. Fairy Ziwei was in deep thought. The eerie light in her eyes was just a speck earlier, but it had already spread to a larger area now. Chapter 1789 Suspected of Rebirth. Heavenly Court. Throughout the eras, countless immortal halls were built. Behind Central Great Hall, there was a tall tower that was covered in a white gold halo. It was the rank 8 Immortal Gu House Heaven Overseeing Tower. Surrounding Heaven Overseeing Tower, several Heavenly Court Gu immortals were working together. They were very busy. Through their hard work, a refinement path formation was slowly taking shape. A Gu immortal with a strong body that was like a monolith was watching outside the formation. Even though he was just standing, he gave a feeling of a huge pillar that could support the sky. It was Duke Long. Greetings, Duke Long. Fairy Ziwei arrived at this moment, standing behind Duke Long. Right now, Langya Blessed Land is in Fang Yuan's hands. That means he also knows the details of Refinement Cauldron. Originally, Heavenly Court's Refinement Path formation was modeled after Refinement Cauldron. I ordered them to disassemble the original formation and modify it into another one. Duke Long said as he turned around, facing Fairy Ziwei. Guilt showed on Fairy Ziwei's face as she said, I have failed in my duties. Before she finished, Duke Long interrupted. No need to take about blaming yourself. I believe you have already reflected upon your actions. The past cannot be changed. We should face the present and plan for the future. Duke Long looked at Fairy Ziwei as he sighed. Right now, Heavenly Court has control of the situation, but it seems like our control is slowly dwindling. Fang Yuan, this pawn arranged by Red Lotus Demon Venerable, was able to thwart our plans and cause the deaths of Chun Yi and Thunder Ghost True Monarch. Right now, he even captured many Southern Border immortals. Even if he is only rank 7, regardless of what methods he used, the result is apparent to us all. The facts are simply like this. Ziwei, how will you deal with it? In the previous life, Duke Long did not place importance on Fang Yuan. He thought that he was just a nuisance. But now, after Fang Yuan attained great victories one after the other, Duke Long became alert towards him. He no longer entrusted everything to Fairy Ziwei like in the previous life. He started to feel uneasy and asked questions about future plans. Fairy Ziwei breathed in deeply. She already had a plan on how to deal with Fang Yuan. She said calmly, the first thing is to find his location. Wisdom path methods are not enough. Right now, I have sent out 3 rank 8 Gu immortals in Southern Border to search for his traces. Furthermore, we need to counter his killer move that uses fixed immortal travel as the core. This move is more threatening than omnidirectional travel. It gives Fang Yuan the initiative to advance or retreat at will. I have already given orders to prepare the refinement of fixed space Gu before anyone else. Fixed space Gu was in Lu Hao's hands, but he was captured by Fang Yuan now. Fairy Ziwei was confident in Heavenly Court's methods. They could make Lu Hao's fixed space immortal Gu self-detonate. With the crucial fixed space Gu, they would be able to deal with fixed immortal travel's killer move. And thirdly, Fairy Ziwei said as she paused, continuing in a heavier tone, we need to guard against his spring-autumn cicada. I am increasingly suspicious that Fang Yuan has already used spring-autumn cicada. He had been reborn already. In the Battle of Langya Blessed Land, our side lost because Star Cast was broken. This is very suspicious. Feng Jiuge left so many Dao marks at various locations. Why did Fang Yuan lock onto that particular one, setting a formation in advance and blocking us from entering? But I have made many deductions on this without any result. The clues are too few. Fairy Ziwei sighed deeply. Spring-autumn cicada is a problem indeed. Duke Long nodded. Do you have any way to deal with it? Fairy Ziwei nodded. Lord Duke Long, didn't we discuss already? We will use the killer move Benevolent Equality on Spring-Autumn Cicada. But Benevolence Gu is still in Southern Border. It is owned by Paradise Earth's inheritor, Lu Wei-yin. That's right, Duke Long said in a low tone. If Fang Yuan uses Spring-Autumn Cicada, he might not just be using it alone. He likely would be using a killer move. Using Benevolent Equality to deal with any potential Spring-Autumn Cicada killer move is most appropriate. Precisely. Purple light flickered in Fairy Ziwei's eyes. That is why I plan to contact Lu Wei-yin soon. I want to discuss the matter of borrowing Benevolence Gu from him. At this time in the previous life, Heavenly Court was calm and composed. They had not contacted Lu Wei-yin so early. But due to the ink effect, they decided to approach Lu Wei-yin in advance. Duke Long nodded as he had a thought. You want to use this chance to see if Fang Yuan has truly been reborn? That's right. If Lu Wei-yin rejects us, the likelihood of Fang Yuan using rebirth is higher. That is because our Benevolent Equality killer move counters Fang Yuan. But if Lu Wei-yin agrees, it means that we were able to use Benevolent Equality. It would be unlikely that Fang Yuan managed to rebirth. At the same time, we can probe the attitude of this current generation Paradise Earth inheritor. Fairy Ziwei said slowly. On the topic of Paradise Earth, Duke Long had a complex expression as he said, let's do that. However, even if Lu Wei-yin refuses to lend to us, we do not need to worry even if we cannot deal with Spring-Autumn Cicada. As long as we control the situation and progress as planned, no matter how that scoundrel Fang Yuan tries, he cannot turn this around. Back then, with Red Lotus strength and foundation, he still failed in the end, not to mention this mere Fang Yuan. Duke Long said this with a grand tone as he smiled. Fairy Ziwei was a little hesitant. She asked, Lord Duke Long, there is something I do not understand. With our heavenly court's deep foundation, why do we need to borrow goo in order to deal with spring-autumn cicada? Do we really lack any kind of method to deal with spring-autumn cicada? Duke Long's smile faded away. The cause is likely Red Lotus. Back then, he had told me this personally when we fought. He said that in the River of Time, there are many stone lotus islands that are not connected to each other, yet they share a special influence. All of the stone lotus islands form one immortal killer move. It is his proudest creation. This method can influence the flow of the River of Time. It can indirectly affect the traces of all beings in this world. Without the River of Time, the entire world would be still. The myriad beings could only move and live because of the moving River of Time. Using this relationship, Red Lotus Demon Venerable created a grand method that exerted its influence until today. The most evident effect was that any goo worm or method that countered spring-autumn cicada would never end up in Heavenly Court. After the matter of Red Lotus, Heavenly Court concealed the truth to defend its reputation while aggressively searching and planning for methods to deal with spring-autumn cicada. Gradually, Heavenly Court found something strange. Any immortal goo that could counter spring-autumn cicada would intentionally avoid Heavenly Court. Among the goo immortals that joined Heavenly Court, very few cultivated time path, but as time passes, this influence is weakening. Heavenly Court has obtained some methods that can influence and disrupt spring-autumn cicada. You know them too. Most are still unusable. Duke Long added, so that's it. Fairy Ziwei had a calm expression, but she was shocked on the inside. Red Lotus Demon Venerable had created an incredible method. This truly surpassed the limits of time path. It had a trace of the power of fate. He not only damaged fate goo, he even forcefully used time path methods to mimic the power of fate in order to counter it. Fairy Ziwei blinked as she calmed her emotions. Next, I will let out news that Fang Yuan is trying to undergo tribulation and ascend to rank 8. At the same time, I will talk to Wu Yong and interact with the Southern Border Righteous Path forces to find more people that would go against Fang Yuan. And finally, I have already given orders to nurture Fang Zheng fully. This person was brought about by the Heavenly Tao. He is a crucial key to dealing with Fang Yuan. Has he already undergone immortal ascension? Central Continent. The blood rain became smaller as Guyu Fang Zheng floated in the sky above the mountain peak. His heaven, earth, and human chi were condensing into one spot. He had gone through many ordeals. His suffering had turned into his precious wealth, allowing him to balance the 3 chi successfully. Fang Zheng suddenly opened his eyes. He breathed in deeply and tossed a rank 5 blood path goo into the lump of chi. Boom! A shocking sound exploded around him. The chi lump burst out and turned into an immortal aperture. High-grade blessed land. Fang Zheng's immortal ascension succeeded. There was also a lot of heaven and earth chi remaining. Fang Zheng was overjoyed. These heaven and earth chi could raise his vital blood path mortal goo into an immortal goo. Fang Zheng, quickly let me in. I will help you with the tribulation. Fan Shilu transmitted. He had been guarding Fang Zheng's entire immortal ascension process. Fang Zheng frowned, showing displeasure. The immortal aperture was the most private area of the Gu Immortal. Fan Shilu was infringing on it. Fang Zheng felt a sense of anger, but immediately, Fang Zheng relaxed his brows. He opened the immortal aperture door and said plainly, "Sure, Fan Shilu, please enter." Fang Zheng knew that not only was Fan Shilu here, during his immortal ascension, countless eyes were watching him. He gradually understood his value. He was just a tool. He was being nurtured to deal with Fang Yuan. A moment later, his tribulation ended. Fan Shilu was inside his immortal aperture. He had a complex expression. Fang Zheng, this is a high-grade blessed land. Back then, I went through so much and faced a great risk during my tribulation, but only gained a medium-grade blessed land. Your immortal aperture has at least a size of 5,666 square kilometers, while the limit is at 6,000 square kilometers. This is definitely a large tributary of the River of Time. The rate of time compared to the outside world is 1 to 28. The limit of a high-grade blessed land is 1 to 30. The difference is very small. His time path and space path resources were far beyond what Fan Shilu had back in his day. Rank 6 Gu immortals with high-grade blessed lands were elites. They were few in numbers to begin with. And during this tribulation, you ascended your vital Gu as well. You now own 2 blood path immortal Gu. The sect has given orders. I brought you a lot of resources to plant and get past the toughest initial stage post-ascension. Fan Shilu said this as he took out a large amount of blood path resources from his immortal aperture. All these resources had huge value. They were mostly immortal materials. This experienced Gu immortal Fan Shilu could not even conceal the jealousy and envy in his eyes. The sect was putting so much effort into nurturing Feng Zheng. The value of these resources was equivalent to a rank 6 lone cultivator's 100 years of accumulation. Even for Fan Shilu, who had Immortal Crane Sect support, he had to spend 50 years to reach this stage. One could say that Feng Zheng became a rich rank 6 Gu immortal without doing anything. The sect is putting so much effort for you, Feng Zheng. Don't let them down. At the end, Fan Shilu said with a hoarse voice. Just by seeing Fan Shilu's complex expression, Feng Zheng understood. He was also shocked that he was receiving so much attention and nurturing, regardless of their motive. I have finally become an immortal. Fang Yuan, the difference between you and I is no longer immortal and mortal. Feng Zheng's divine sense looked around. He felt deep emotions while looking at his immortal aperture. This is my immortal aperture, my blessed land, my foundation. At this moment, he felt that his future was bright. It seemed to be filled with endless possibilities. Fang Yuan, even though you are strong, you were still forced to escape from Central Continent and Heavenly Court. You dare not step into Central Continent. With their help, it will not be impossible for me to deal with you. Even though I understand you, I will not forgive you. Fate toys with people. We will still end up as enemies after all. This current life was different from the previous. Feng Zheng received much more attention and help. His immortal ascension was brought forward by quite some time. In the previous life, everyone knew about the nightmare that Southern Border faced. Fang Yuan's demonic might was overwhelming. But now, Heavenly Court concealed the facts behind their loss, while Southern Border's situation had not been known to everyone yet. Thus, Guyu Feng Zheng had no idea that Chun Yi and Thunder Ghost True Monarch had died. He did not know that Southern Border's immortals were all captured by Fang Yuan. This created a misconception after his immortal ascension that if he continued like this, he might be able to reach Fang Yuan's height and face him directly. Chapter 1790. NX. Inside Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Within the empty mini yellow heaven, a figure was flying at rapid speed. It came to a stop abruptly, landing before a group of Gu immortals. It was Fang Yuan's time path clone, Lord Fang Yuan. Sect leader. The group of immortals paid their respects. Looking at them, other than Ing Wu Xie, who was working in Green Ghost Desert, Fang Yuan's subordinates were gathered around. By Ning Bing, He Lu Lan, Fairy Miao Yin, Lady White Rabbit, Shui Air, Bing Yuan, Shi Zong, Shi Cheng, and Mo Tan Sang. Their immortal auras permeated the area. These talented people were all gathered here together. These people had participated in the ambush earlier. They witnessed how Fang Yuan controlled the situation and captured the Southern Border immortals. Thus, the immortals looked at Fang Yuan with even more heated and respectful expressions than before the battle. Especially those variant human Gu immortals. They had smiling expressions with a polite attitude. They were as tame as pets. No need to stand on ceremony. Fang Yuan glanced at them before turning to the other side. An immortal formation was floating in the sky. It had been built by this group of Gu immortals not long ago. Of course, the main part of the formation was made by Fang Yuan. He had only left the minor portions to these subordinates. Fang Yuan's time path clone observed patiently before nodding in satisfaction. This formation was operating smoothly. This was the Wisdom Refinement Formation. It was constructed by using the light of wisdom, along with woman's heart, and unravel mystery to refine other immortal Gu. If there was the other person's will, the effect would become even more outstanding. Initially, Fang Yuan had used Mo Yao's fake will to refine the immortal Gu of immortal zombie Bo Qing, including changed soul immortal Gu. This crucial immortal goo allowed Fang Yuan to turn the situation around, snatching sovereign immortal fetus goo during the Battle of Etion Mountain from spectral soul, in the previous life. This formation was modified by Fang Yuan. It had great power, and in this life, Fang Yuan only tweaked it a little before using it. Because the effect was sufficient, further modification was unnecessary. Alright, get into the formation. Fang Yuan instructed. The goo immortals beside him started to enter the formation. They controlled the formation for Fang Yuan, maintaining its operation. Fang Yuan turned around and looked behind him. Behind him, there was an illusory dream realm. It was like a huge lump of rainbow clouds that a pure dream reality seeker physique body had already been formed. Fang Yuan had learned this move from Feng Huang in the previous life. It was a perfect pure dream reality seeker physique body that could exist permanently. But because Fang Yuan's soul cultivation was still low, he could not create a split soul. It was merely Fang Yuan's will that was controlling this pure dream reality seeker physique body. The will would be constantly expended until it dissipates into nothingness. It was only a proper clone if it had an accompanying soul. Thus, this pure dream reality seeker physique body was only half a dream path clone. But it was enough for now. After the pure dream reality seeker physique body entered the dream, a southern border goo immortal was quickly pushed out. As he had not entered the formation yet. The goo immortals around Fang Yuan looked and had changes of expression as they recognized this person. After the battle, they did not idle. They were searching for the information of these captives. Thus they knew a lot about these people. This is Yang Clan's goo immortal Yang Ku. He is one of the peak representative experts of Soul Path in Southern Border's goo immortal world. He had once destroyed the nest of a group of ancient desolate beasts by himself, and had successfully escaped from the pursuit of an immemorial desolate beast. Lady White Rabbit and the rest were talking. Yang Ku's upper half was still inside the dream realm, while the lower half was exposed outside the dream realm. Fang Yuan's main body used his killer move, immortal killer move, Great Thief Ghost Hand. A ghost hand descended from the sky. It quickly went into Yang Ku's immortal aperture, as the immortals watched. In just a few breaths of time, the ghost hand came out. It flew past Fang Yuan's time path clone as it came to the top of the wisdom refinement formation. Its 5 fingers opened up and tossed the newly stolen immortal goo into the formation. This was a rank 7 soul path immortal goo. The immortal goo entered the wisdom refinement formation. It was immediately enveloped by the formation and trapped in the center. Activate it with full force. The goo immortals inside the formation cried out. The wisdom refinement formation shined with a bright golden light. Amidst the buzzing noises, the light of wisdom also gathered on the stolen immortal goo, rapidly refining it. Great Thief Ghost Hand flew back to Yang Ku's immortal aperture. It came out after a few breaths of time, bringing out a second immortal goo. This immortal goo was Devour Soul Goo. Fang Yuan's time path clone nodded. With this immortal goo as the core, he could finally use the killer move Devour Soul. After Great Thief Ghost Hand tossed Devour Soul immortal goo into the wisdom refinement formation, it flew back to Yang Ku's immortal aperture. For the following 2 times, it stole immortal goo again and finally plundered all of Yang Ku's immortal goo. Some of the variant human goo immortals who were unaware saw this and revealed expressions of shock. Did Fang Yuan already modify Great Thief Ghost Hand so that it would always steal immortal goo? If that was the case, Great Thief Ghost Hand would be hundreds or thousands of times more powerful than before. But Great Thief Ghost Hand had indeed been modified. After Fang Yuan gained some results in comprehending the Steel Life True Inheritance, he was able to specify the intended target for Great Thief Ghost Hand to steal as long as Fang Yuan knew the target well, and where their immortal goo were, he could steal immortal goo every time. And in this case, Fang Yuan was completely aware of Yang Ku's immortal aperture. Because in the previous life, he had stolen goo and soul-searched, he annexed the entire aperture. Yang Ku's immortal aperture was fused into his own sovereign immortal aperture that a moment later, Fang Yuan looted Yang Ku dry of his immortal goo. Using the wisdom refinement formation, he quickly refined them into his own. Fang Yuan's time path clone took away Devour Soul immortal goo as he instilled immortal essence. activating other goo worms as well to form the killer move Devour Soul. This Devour Soul killer move was also modified. It was more effective than in the previous life. Fang Yuan drew in a breath. Yang Ku's soul was drawn out to a soul path Gu immortal. Yang Ku's soul was about to wake up the moment it left the dream realm. But Fang Yuan was prepared for this. He used a soul path killer move and sealed it. After taking away the immortal Gu, Yang Ku was like a tiger without teeth. After his soul was taken, Yang Ku was a tiger without teeth that was having a fatal illness. The final step, aperture retrieval. Fang Yuan called out as he activated his killer move, pulling out Yang Ku's immortal aperture from his body. The immortal aperture was forcefully sealed. It was turned into a light gray lump of light. Bai Ningbing and two other Gu immortals flew over at this moment. Fang Yuan's time path clone handed this gray light to Bai Ningbing with deep caution, saying, "Go ahead." He had deduced everything already. Bai Ningbing held on to Yang Ku's immortal aperture. She and the others flew towards mini southern border. After confirming the location, Bai Ningbing tossed. This gray-white light was fused into a certain mountain peak. Immediately, heaven and earth chi rumbled. The gray light exploded and became larger. The area outside the gray light cracked as mountains moved. There was a deafening noise as the gray light expanded. It eventually turned back into the appearance of Yang Ku's immortal aperture. "Be careful," Bai Ningbing called out sharply as the two immortals beside her got ready. Chirp, chirp. Firstly, a group of flower-wing white-bone birds emitted a crow-like call as they flew outside rapidly. Next, the ground shook as a beast tide surged out towards mini southern border from Yang Ku's blessed land. Bai Ningbing and the rest had serious expressions, but they were not flustered. Long ago, Fang Yuan had deduced this. He had made the necessary arrangements with great detail. The three immortals took action immediately. Bai Ningbing soon dispersed the beast tide, while the flower-wing white-bone birds were also drawn away by a variant human Gu immortal to another area. Yang Ku blessed land originally had a balanced ecology. The living beings inside lived harmoniously, but after fusing into mini southern border, the balance that Yang Ku had created was broken. Chaos ensued. Ordinary Gu immortals would definitely be flustered at this point, but Fang Yuan was calm and composed. He used his deep wisdom path attainment and the Gu immortal subordinates that he had to control the situation. The chaos only lasted for a while before it vanished. One of the three immortals stayed behind to handle the loose ends while Bai Ningbing and another variant human Gu immortal flew towards mini yellow heaven. On their way back, they saw another group of three Gu immortals holding a pink lump of light as they flew towards mini southern border. Great thief ghost hand. Wisdom refinement formation. Devour Soul killer move. Aperture retrieval method. Stealing Gu. Refining Gu. Separating soul from body, annexing immortal aperture, and suppressing the chaos. Fang Yuan arranged all these steps meticulously. It was done with much ease. Mainly due to his previous life's experiences, Fang Yuan was very familiar with these captives. Days later, Fang Yuan almost finished dealing with all the captives. Only Ba Shi Ba and Lu Hao were left. A huge dark inkstone vein was moved to the territory of the Rockmen. Shi Chung was extremely happy upon seeing in mini southern border. Dozens of mountains appeared out of nowhere. Some mountains were even famous in southern border. Interior Rain Mountain, Copper Seal Mountain, Bonebird Peak. The first supreme elder of the Rockman tribe, Shi Zong, sighed deeply to himself. Plundering and killing brings the most profits. Because they were southern border Gu immortals, most of the resources were placed in mini southern border, while the other half of the resources were split into the other 4 mini regions, as well as the mini 9 heavens. Firstly, in mini central continent, there was now a phantom shadow flower garden and a large fertile land filled with an enormous amount of immortal farmer soil. Secondly, there was a huge heaven pillar wind in mini northern plains. Thirdly, a brand new sea area in mini eastern sea, called Wayflower Sea area. Fourthly, in mini western desert, a dozen hibiscus trees were planted. Every branch of this tree was an immortal material. And his most important gain, Xia Cha Grotto Heaven's year essence pool, that in the previous life. Fang Yuan did not know that Xia Cha had a year essence pool. He had constructed one himself. Having 2 year essence pools did not have much use. The result was that he had wasted a lot of resources. Most of the resources that Fang Yuan extorted from the southern border righteous path forces were spent constructing this year essence pool.I in this life. Fang Yuan directly took over Xia Cha's year essence pool. Fang Yuan had been troubled by the year beasts, ancient year beasts, and immemorial year beasts. He immediately threw them into the year essence pool now. The immortals had huge waves of emotions. After experiencing much shock and surprise, they became numb. Fang Yuan plundered almost all of these southern border Gu immortals' life savings. He took everything without any wastage. Lord Fang Yuan truly has a comprehensive array of attainment levels. He could annex so many immortal apertures of various paths without problems. His grotto heaven is grand and vast. After annexing so many immortal apertures, it is still so stable and firm. This is simply a slaughter of livestock. These Gu immortal experts were all like chickens falling in the hands of a butcher. Their throats were slit, their blood was run dry, their feathers were plucked, and they were cleaned and chopped up. This is truly, the immortals were tongue-tied, some could not speak. Fang Yuan's mass annexing of apertures had caused them to feel a chill in their hearts that it was as if these Gu immortals were not Gu immortals in Fang Yuan's eyes. They were livestock ready for the slaughterhouse. Even rank 8 Gu immortals were no exception. This had a huge impact on these immortals, especially the variant human Gu immortals. They were much more shocked now than during the ambush earlier.